hustling my whole life. I know the struggle, I know both sides. I'm at your neck like a bow tie. I don't know death, I'm pro-life. I cannot stress, I'm so love and so light and so bright. And me and God are so tight, the light of my life. I'm reaching new heights while I'm reciting my wife. I'm going bravely, ooh, I'm doing greatly. Life's amazing, I guess it is what you make it. This is prayer, this is affirmation. I've been healing, I've been feeling, I've been raising my vibration. I've been raising my vibration. I've been patient, I've been waiting. I've been patient, y'all. I've been raising my vibration. I've been healing, I've been praying. I've been raising my vibration. I've been patient, I've been waiting. I've been stacking, I've been saving, I've been healing, I've been praying. Meditating, affirmations, I've been raising my vibration. I've been hella patient, meditating, lighting, saging, elevating. That's amazing. Dedication, self-preservation. I'm a walking revelation for every agent in the matrix. I'm a king, I'm a lion, I'm a giant, I'm Messiah, I'm in Zion. I'm prolific, I'm so gifted. I see the vision in my third eye, it's so vivid. I've been raising my vibration. I've been patient, I've been waiting. I've been patient, y'all. I've been raising my vibration.
We will rebrand man and shape the future of humanity within the possibility of father. So our children can go farther, and our women can be supported as we move farther.
I've been raising my vibration.
Once neglected, now protected, most respected and reflected. Yeah, I've been raising my vibration, healing the hurt, doing the work, never revert. To whack vibes that came first. Peace in your mind, peace in your soul, peace in your home. Keeping it real enough to grow, that's how you'll know. You're raising your vibration, that's how you'll know. Yeah, you're raising your vibration. Transfiguration, out of stagnation. She remembered who she was, that's a daily affirmation. Don't be mistaken, you're still evolving and amazing. Rebirth and genesis, just like a chrysalis. Journey in grace, protecting your space. Trust your intuition. In the liminal space, your ancestors been waiting. Your higher self been praying day by day. Keep raising your vibration, yeah.
I've been raising my vibration. I've been patient, I've been waiting. I've been patient, y'all. I've been raising my vibration. I've been healing, I've been praying. I've been raising my vibration. I've been patient, I've been waiting. I've been stacking, I've been saving, I've been healing, I've been praying. Meditating, affirmations, I've been raising my vibration.
Peace and greetings, family. So I know we just watched our wellness warrior brother Londrell and our sacred sister Layla Dalia actually perform raising our vibration. But in light of this actually being the week that we are exploring and leaning into the gateway that's opening to sacred work, I'm gonna play it again. And this time, I know you heard it the first time, maybe even you watched it the first time, but now to just give it the lens of sacred work and just identify every lyric, every visualization of what comes to mind for you, or even what comes to spirit for you based on sacred work. Okay.
I command all the fathers from all time immortal to be upon us in this moment. I salute the Father in you, 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 Father in you. We exalt the Holy Father in us so we can align with the Holy Mother, and we can continue the creation.
All praises to the Most High. I've been raising my vibration, yoga meditation, just sticking to the basics, living in the matrix. It's cynical and crazy, but I've been swimming in amazement, writing all these verses, reversing all my curses, walking in my purpose, doing it on purpose. I'm sure, I'm certain, I'm pure, not perfect. I rise in service of God, I'm a servant, take me high. All praises to the Most High. I've been hustling my whole life. I know the struggle, I know both sides. I'm at your neck like a bow tie. I don't know death, I'm pro-life. I cannot stress, I'm so love and so light and so bright. And me and God are so tight, the light of my life. I'm reaching new heights while I'm reciting my wife. I'm going bravely, oh, I'm doing greatly. Life's amazing, I guess it is what you make it. This is prayer, this is affirmation. I've been healing, I've been feeling, I've been raising my vibration. I've been raising my vibration. I've been patient, I've been waiting. I've been patient, y'all. I've been raising my vibration. I've been healing, I've been praying. I've been raising my vibration. I've been patient, I've been waiting. I've been stacking, I've been saving, I've been healing, I've been praying. Meditating, affirmations, I've been raising my vibration. I've been hella patient, meditating, lighting, saging, elevating. That's amazing. Dedication, self-preservation. I'm a walking revelation for every agent in the matrix. I'm a king, I'm a lion, I'm a giant, I'm Messiah, I'm in Zion, I'm prolific, I'm so gifted. I see the vision in my third eye, it's so vivid. I've been raising my vibration. I've been patient, I've been waiting. I've been patient, y'all. I've been raising my vibration.
We will rebrand man and shape the future of humanity within the possibility of father. So our children can go farther, and our women can be supported as we move farther.
I've been raising my vibration.
Once neglected, now protected, most respected and reflected. Yeah, I've been raising my vibration, healing the hurt, doing the work, never revert. To whack vibes that came first. Peace in your mind, peace in your soul, peace in your home. Keeping it real enough to grow, that's how you'll know. You're raising your vibration, that's how you'll know. Yeah, you're raising your vibration. Transfiguration, out of stagnation. She remembered who she was, that's a daily affirmation. Don't be mistaken, you're still evolving and amazing. Rebirth and genesis, just like a chrysalis. Journey in grace, protecting your space. Trust your intuition. In the liminal space, your ancestors been waiting. Your higher self been praying day by day. Keep raising your vibration, yeah.
I've been raising my vibration. I've been patient, I've been waiting. I've been patient, y'all. I've been raising my vibration. I've been healing, I've been praying. I've been raising my vibration. I've been patient, I've been waiting. I've been stacking, I've been saving, I've been healing, I've been praying. Meditating, affirmations, I've been raising my vibration.
Peace and greetings, family. So I know you probably heard that song, right? A couple of times, maybe more, right, through this experience with us. But now listening to it again with the intention of really calling forward sacred work, you can see that truly that's what the song is about. So much so that it actually calls out at the end so many of our sisters and brothers who have found their mesh connect, have established their sacred work. And obviously for both Landrell and Layla, this song also is a portion of their sacred work. So Ashe, it brings me pride. I just have to say too, I had a 0.2 second cameo in there. I don't know if you saw it. I'm not going to go back and actually pull it out for you. I'm just going to ask y'all to run up his numbers and keep kind of fast forward and rewind to see if you can find it. Okay, but yeah, it was recorded.
I saw you.
You saw me? Okay, okay. Let me know if y'all saw me, and if you did, tell me what time it was. Look, then we'll know. We'll know, right? We'll know. But it's such an honor. I'll be quite honest, we did not even know that this was in the making during our water purification ceremony. So pretty amazing to be stitched together in our City of Wellness. So all right, we're gonna close out of that. Stop sharing. And before we actually move further into today's chat, right? I just wanted to also ask, what is it that you identified or what stood out for you in the video in terms of sacred work? What stood out for you? So I know I called out some of the things already, right? In terms of within the video at the end, there's this credits that kind of rolls through that shows all the various different sisters and brothers in their sacred work. There's also some messaging in the song about struggle, about raising yourselves out of the struggle and what that looks like. Did anyone pick up on anything in the song that actually they felt applied or it just resonated? It was something that caught your attention?
Hi, it's Melinda. Hello, everyone. One of the things that kind of, I'm not in a weird space. I'm in a space where I am trying to execute moving home and
yeah,
some fear behind it, you know? And this just kind of shows like everything always works out. Everything always works out. Things works itself out always. I can write an entire list of how it showed up in my life of things just kind of working out. And it's so while I was listening, that's what came up for me. Like, girl, go ahead and do it.
Just make it happen.
Yeah, just
like I got you once you get started, right?
Right. Execute.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm
complete.
Thanks. Ashe. Anybody else? Anything that stood out? Thank you for sharing that, Melinda. Did anything stand out for you in the messaging? We'll give it a second. We're getting folks getting warmed up. Go on, babe.
No, I mean, it's in my rotation, my daily rotation. That song probably plays like, I don't know, 4 or 5 times a day. But there's so much, great message in it. I love Melinda as well, of what she was saying, it's the new thing that I've been saying, right? To just be in flow, right? Just be in flow with how things are happening, reversing curses, generational curses. And
that's a big one.
Yeah. Understanding first what the curses are.
How can you reverse it if not, right? And that's such a it's a seemingly small point, but really not.
Right,
you know?
really not. Like, awareness is a key thing, So once you start understanding all these, generational curses, that's when you can set your intentions on it and making sure, like brother AJ and I was talking today at work about just some of that, like saying like, it's such a blessing where we're at on our journey and what we can give down to our kids. More for brother AJ, who even has younger kids, sons at that, right? That they watch daddy, they watch how they move, they watch mommy, they watch how they move. And because we are in a journey of attaching the feelings, being more aware of what's going on inside of us, and we're passing that down, to our kids. Those are some of the curses right there that you're breaking down, and you're breaking through. So they have a different start at a younger age in life than we did.
Almost a head start, right?
Right, because we're learning this now, but they're getting it at a young age, and not the toxic habits that have been passed down to us. What a man is considered, or what an outfit is considered, or what is tough, and all these different things that are actually blockages from feelings and emotions and all that. So some of that, and coming out of stagnation. I know she sings in there about even being in stagnation. And to me, like a big thing, stagnation for me was what I was in for many years. It's just being okay with the everyday life and just going through. But what is actually happening? Nothing.
You're taking actions, but they're not really summing up to the overall. Let's see if we can get this. Actually, here's an interview. Here we go. So being more intentional. Essentially. All right, y'all. We're gonna open the way. I am going to share. Let's see here. Let's share our screen.
There's a chat too.
Okay. And give us a thumbs up if you can see that. Can you see that? Can you all see the screen? Okay, thumbs up, going up. Awesome. We see in the chat. So we've got some greetings from Shah and Trey. Greetings from Alicia, says the beauty of different ethnicities. And oh, I love that. Right? Something different stands out to everyone. Ethnicities in harmony, along with a few other things. Chandra said the yoga and meditation to center and listen for your calling. Love that. Letitia says healing the hurt and doing the work. Come on through with the lyric.
Okay.
Never reverting is something that stood out for me. Okay. Grateful to our elder sister, Felisa, for starting this positive messaging on our Queen's Call. Absolutely. That she says it's the Ghanaian president that Queen Felisa shares with us frequently, a reminder. The Ghanaian president mentioned never going back. Never going backwards. Exactly. So giving thanks for that.
Now that is so aligned, because in our King's calls, or even in our chats, I often say that, we often say that, like, once you go forward, don't go back. Like you can't, even when we're doing our workouts and our push-ups, once you did 20, don't go back down to 15. Like you're there already. Like
I like that. I'll keep that in mind when I'm working out, because some days I go back. All right. So we are going to open the way. And as always, we start out with our setting of the intention. So our intention is to build a community in balance with the masculine and feminine energies. We aspire to end generational trauma in our communities through healing and growth. Okay. And if you all would like to unmute, we will begin our affirmation.
Right. Here we go. I am open to the wisdom within me.
I am open to the wisdom within me.
I embrace the path of self-discovery.
I embrace the path of self-discovery.
I am ready to strengthen my bonds with others.
I am ready to strengthen my bonds with others.
Together we embark on this sacred journey.
Together we embark on this sacred journey.
Ashe.
Ashe.
No.
Week 12. We're meeting next week though, y'all. Don't make any plans on Tuesday yet. Look, we are going to meet so we can discuss. This of course today is our gateway discussion, right? And our bridging the gap with our defining of our intentions. Also, next week we will have a call so that way we can discuss next steps. Like what does that mean for us? When will we be meeting? And what we can expect going forward. So be important to still save the date for next Tuesday.
Because we're not ready to let go yet.
Not yet. We're not letting go, but
Yeah.
So, Ashe. All right, y'all. The curtain reveal. Here we go. So for this week, right? The final week. There's a lot. There's a lot, y'all. So we're going to be moving through some things and we're going to take our time to really discuss them. But we'll be fluid as we always are, right? And we'll navigate as spirit calls for us to. But this week, the Arit was the man of supreme, right? Supreme self-mastery. So in summary, what would you tell us about that, Vic? It's a lot.
It is. So this was the Arit that I ascended through.
The first time.
The first time a man healed thyself. And coming through it again, as I was saying to you, I understand now why Supernova and them chose it for me.
Oh, so we should also preface it by reminding the family here that different than the women's circle, right? So with Queen Afua and Sacred Women, we choose our own gateways. As it resonates with us intuitively. But in the men's program for Wellness Warriors, they actually they assign it based on their observations of the men, which I think is pretty amazing also. So just wanted to say.
No, I say it, and it's different, I think when I look back at it now, going through it again now, and kind of, again, I always keep saying the words are different now, right? The connection is different, but I also believe even each time you go through it, even from here, you will receive different messages of what the Most High is trying to send to you in that present time in your life. At the time that I ascended through it, I believe that it was for my future self.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So going through it a lot, just understanding what this Arit means, who the supreme man of self-mastery is and who he wants to be in this world. A man that understands that connection is the key, that you first have to work within. And once he is there, he's able to unlock his whole self. That only then will he be able to give outward to others, right? It's something that I didn't realize the connection then to it. I understood some things like why. I'm like, okay, I see why
they saw it in you,
correct,
but you didn't see it.
But I didn't see it yet. That's
interesting.
Very well said, because that's what it is. They saw something before I saw it. But now going through it, I'm like, oh, okay, I get it. I understand it. And just like it's almost because you're at this point, you got to understand it's not over. It's just started. So you went through these 12 weeks of, wisdom and understanding and learning these tools and how the universe operates and what's within you and how you need to be aware of things. And you almost get this false belief that, oh, I went through it. I'm good. I'm ready for anything. And then you start questioning yourself like, wait a minute. Wait, why is this happening? I'm being tested and why is this showing up? Now I understand it now going through it, and we understood it because even while we was doing this, we understood why when we opened the gateway, why things were showing up. When I went through it the first time, I didn't understand what was going to happen in the universe once you get through this, right? So the universe is going to say, we're giving you these tools. Now let's see how you use them. And there are going to be tests and shifts that's going to happen. And it's not for you to stay in low vibrations, but low will come. And now you have the tools and the awareness to work through the lows, right? And appreciate the highs when they're high. But that's some of the things that I got from this is again, you know, as a man of supreme master of self-mastery, you understand self more than ever. And you understand what tools you have within you, or that's always been inside of you.
That are just for you. Wow.
That's for, yeah.
That's amazing. So what would you say is the thing that you might have bypassed in this particular arena the last time? If there was like one thought that stood out that this time really resonated for you, or you absorbed it more deeply?
So the thing that stood out for me more now than ever is when discomfort happens, it's happening for a reason, and to flow through it. Don't run from it. For me, like understanding like what flow means, what this means to be transformed into this man of self-mastery, is understanding you're going to have all these different emotions and different things that show up, and it's not for you to put a mask on to hide things. It's not to run from it. It's not to not work through it. It shows up for you to sit in it no matter how uncomfortable it feels, because when you operate in love and light, the universe will give you everything you need to get through it. And that's a connection I didn't make the first time.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. What I love about just what you've shared, you know, in the past and even now around it, the idea of the supreme man focusing on self-mastery, it almost sounds like opposite of what many people perceive as being an alpha male, right? Like, I know that prior to you going through this experience and then sharing it with me, the idea of alpha male very much felt like dominance over others, dominance over the world. And essentially what it's saying here is to be the supreme man, it's really like to dominate yourself.
It is.
You know, so.
Yeah. And I say, I'm glad that you mentioned that, because, you know, I had that view of an alpha man, and to understand that alpha man operates in love, right? That's the key thing, like for me, that I understand now more than ever. It's not the tough, big alpha. No, that's not the tough guy. That's not the alpha guy. The alpha guy is in touch and in tune with all the emotions in his body, and he can operate authentically in love, and that's what gives out to the world, you know? So yeah.
I love that thought. So how that relates to the Egyptian mythology of Mesh Connect, right? So Mesh Connect symbolizes creation and the nurturing aspect of the feminine, but creation in the sense of it being your sacred work. And so when I think about Mesh Connect now, it brings on so many layers of emotion and more experiences for me than it ever did when I went through it the first time, similar to you, right? So when I went through it the first time, I was so engrossed in the shocking revelations that I had about myself, the things that I was kind of peeling back the onion to explore about myself, right? And then realizing that, oh my goodness, the fiber of my being is, you know, wrapped around relationships and how that's been impacting like all my decision making. And I was so like in celebration of having that awareness that I kind of moved through Mesh Connect and was like, I already got my answer. Like I'm not, you know. And it's interesting. So when I met Queen Afua during my ascension, and at that point, I had actually not written the book, right? I didn't write Surrendering to Soft Living yet. I actually had started the journal prompt cards, right? I started Journal Gem. And it was something that I gave birth through and to throughout the gateways of rites of passage, because I realized that because I love journaling, I was coming up with all of these introspective questions and ended up sharing them with the community. So I started by sharing with my circle, and then others would hear about it and started sharing it with the other circles. And then Queen was like, yeah, share it with everyone. Drop it in the global chat for everybody. And so that's what was happening before I decided to launch Journal Gem and actually make the cards. So I think that for other people, because I had started that, they were like, oh, Tanacia's definitely going to send a Mesh Connect because she brought forth a sacred work. during rites of passage. But for me, it was all about my aunt, because I had finally arrived at like the key to my being, right?
Right.
And then now I understand even more so why I was not ready to explore Meshkinet as my ascension, because my ascension in that has actually happened thereafter. So one of the things that I actually shared with, and I don't share, I'll be honest, I don't share a lot of intimate details with like social media. You all know a lot more, you know what I mean, about what goes on the behind the scenes for me, as well as a family, obviously, right? But I mean, I did share, because it was just too profound not to, that yesterday during the atmospheric, total solar eclipse, I had just like this full circle moment of like everything that I had been working on just coming into alignment. So I was here. James's granddaughter was still here, right? Like the little, our little was here.
She's gone now. She's gone.
I know, heartbreaking.
Yeah.
And her mom was here, and our son is here, James is here, and then Billy, our other son, is here, and his girlfriend was here, and Tiara and James were, Tiara was at school, right? And James was at work, but in the parking lot, ready to observe. And we were all together on WhatsApp, because some of us still have Androids, okay? So we were all together on WhatsApp. And it was in that moment that I was like, wow, we've worked towards this moment. Like, we've worked towards being able to be together in this way and have it feel so fluid, right? So that was one part of the sacred work, the family dynamic. And then earlier that day, I've been running up against so many challenges with trying to get this mosque that I've been working with for the last few months. My team, we work to bring in energy, right? So my job outside of this is actually bringing in energy solutions in terms of gas connections to establishments, to buildings. And so I've been working with the engineers on my team, and we're doing all the work, and we are at the ready, and we could not get our permits together, and we could not get the coordination together to make it happen in that moment. And right, we couldn't, which needed to happen yesterday. Like, they had to open yesterday, right? And so long story short, I went through a list of looking to see in these departments that I needed to contact. Okay, who can I make a telephone call? And immediately I come across a friend, like, a friend of a friend, right? And I reach out, and we're able to make the connection in order to basically put gas into this mosque so that they can open on time. And I mean, after it was all said and done, I nearly cried on the day of the eclipse. And so I nearly broke down and cried about it, because it was just, I felt this strong, presence of, it can be done. It can be done. Don't accept the no's. Don't accept the no's. And when we got the yes, and within 1 hour it was done, it was just like such a weight. And the idea that it was for a spiritual community just was in such alignment with who I am, what I do, right? And why I do it.
Right.
Not to mention there are other layers, but I say all of that to say, Meshkinet really came through yesterday for me, in understanding the alignment that you can have, no matter if you're a business owner, entrepreneur, in the corporate structure or otherwise, whatever you're doing, whether it's family dynamics, whatever the sacred work is for you, there's a way to make it all melt together. If the stitch is that it's really aligned with your true purpose. So that's something I now understand, right? That I would not have understood or even been thinking about really at the time that I went through the rites of passage before. But the full circle moment happened yesterday, and it was magnified by today, y'all, because today I was asked to come in to a high school in the neighborhood that I grew up in for career day, right? And talk to other kids about doing exactly this. So I just say that to say, happening during the week of our opening of the portal to sacred work, all these different elements, I don't believe in chance, right? I don't believe in coincidence. Like, this is divine, and the timing was just right, and the alignment is there. So I think Meshkinet is this time.
That is beautiful.
Yeah.
It's funny how your journey and your path was set up before you even knew it. That connection that you met before was already in your path of
Yeah.
alignment for this day to happen today.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So here we are, family. You know, we always. Oh, let me see here. Sorry, y'all. Let me just reshare. Wrong screen. Let me just stop share and pause. Let me grab the right one. Here we are. Okay. Oh, bear with me, family. Here we are. Okay. And okay. Alrighty, here we go. Let me just reshare. Oops, this one is okay. Thanks for bearing with us. And present. Here we are. Okay. Here we go. Can you all see that? Give us a thumbs up again when you can see it. Let us know. Let us know. Can you see it? All right. Okay, awesome, awesome. All right, so we are diving into our definitions, right? So this week is exploring divine assignment. And as per usual, we're always breaking down the words, and hence why when we get started in the beginning of Sacred Woman, it's it always right after Newt we move into Tahuti, because that's just how important sacred word is, right? And we know all about that in this community because we are always breaking down words. So starting with work, right, and getting our understanding of the background on that. So it originates from the Old English word, right? And it evolved from meaning initially to do or to make. That simple. Work meant to do or to make, right?
Okay, yeah.
And then when we think about all the ways that we use that word today, it's a lot more expansive, right, than just to do or to make, right? We've got wages and labor laws and all kinds of things that go into the mix now when we think about work. But really and truly, holistically and at the root, work just means to do and to make. Okay, so we've got that. Now we're moving into sacred, right? And we're exploring each of these separately. So we've got sacred, which can actually be traced back to a Latin word, to being a Latin word, which actually means dedicated to the gods. Sacred means dedicated to the gods, which also it then was referenced to mean to make holy. Later on, in the Proto-Indo-European root, it talks about to make a treaty, right? And then over time, the word has evolved to meaning signifying anything with reverence or deemed worthy of spiritual respect or devotion. So that's sacred. Okay, so we've got sacred and we've got work. So work, very simply, to do or to make, and sacred, really simply, means dedicated to the gods.
Dedicated to the, I like that. Dedicated to the
So when
gods.
we're thinking about them together now, sacred work, it's really the dedication of your work, right? In terms of what you do,
Yes.
right? So the to do or what you make, the making, the creation, whatever it is you're creating, and how it is dedicated to God, dedicated to the Most High.
I love it. I love it.
So, and I know we'll talk through that, but realizing that it doesn't talk about finances, it doesn't talk about getting to the bag, as we hear people say, right? But it's really and truly about the work that we're doing for God.
Wow.
Okay. And dedication of God. So now we're exploring a little bit more deeply and understanding, and we're going to go back to these, right? So y'all take your note, we'll go back and open the discussion. We have quite a few slides on this, so we want to make sure that we definitely get to explore it so that when we open up the discussion, you've got all the elements you want to speak through. So now we're exploring the different ways that we look at work, right? So we talked about how work really at the root is to do or to make, but these are all the ways that we have become accustomed as a society of looking at work. So there's your career, there's the profession, and then there's jobs, right? And some of us may be using all of these words really interchangeably, but really getting down to the sacredness of these words and understanding how they're used and why they evoke the feeling that they do or the emotion and sentiment that they do. We're gonna get to the root, right? So for career, it originates from the French word, right? And it basically meant a roadway, a path, or a course of working life. So it's a roadway or a path.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah,
y'all.
path.
We're clear on that. A roadway or a path. Okay. Now we're talking about profession. Okay, so profession comes from Latin, right? And it means a public declaration, right? So when you think about like how attorneys or doctors give an oath, right? And I know that, I mean, so many other professions now also give an oath, right? A lot of the health professions, right, give an oath. So a profession is considered, or was considered, right, when it was the root of it and the origin of it, to be a public declaration, the practice of an occupation or the taking of vows upon entering a religious order. That's where it started. Okay. So since then it has transformed and evolved, right? And so in English, the term took on the meaning of declaring public occupation, especially one requiring a high level of education or training. I could talk to y'all about this one all day because that last bullet is very heavy on the capitalism that has occurred, right? Because once upon a time, there was no such thing as higher level of education or training, right?
Right.
It was just a public declaration of an occupation and a vow that's entering a religious order. So that's interesting. Now we're going to go to job. So when we're talking about jobs here, so we have the origin of job is somewhat obscure. Not really sure where this came in. It first appeared in English in the 16th century, and I believe it's possibly derived from a word that was used to describe a piece of work. So thinking about that, we've got the career, which is a path or a roadway. We've got the profession, which is a public declaration. And then we've got the job, which is a piece of work. Not the whole work,
Right.
but it's a piece of work. All right, y'all. We're going to go one more, and then we're going to open it up. Actually, you know what Spirit is saying? We're going to go here. We're going to go here. We're going to go here. So y'all, we're going to open it up to discussion. So considering work and sacred and what it means to have sacred work, right? We're talking about a work that's in dedication to God based on something you do or you make. And then we are drawing the correlation between that idea and having a career, having a profession, and having a job. How are we feeling about this awareness? We're going to open it up to you all. So is anything coming up for anyone in terms of sacred work or career, profession, or job?
Repeat the question.
So the question is, what's coming up for you? You know, so when you think about the idea that sacred work, so that's the gateway that we're in. So sacred work and its derivative, right? Like its root really just means to do something or to make something, whether it's an experience or otherwise, right? To create in dedication of God. And then we're now what we know about the root of what a career is, profession, and a job, how does that sit with you? Like, what's the thought that comes to mind, when you think about it in this way? Maybe you've always known about it in this way, these words and their roots. But if you haven't, how does it immediately hit you, or how do you feel about this awareness?
So I'll say for me, so how I feel or what shows up for me when we're talking about this. So for me, like my true thing that I do that I feel now I understand is me serving God, and the gift that he gave me is a barber, right? Cutting hair, right? Years ago, I cut hair just because I was good at it. And I picked up from my first pair of clippers when I'm 11 years old or whatever it is. And I just start cutting. I'm like, oh, how do I do this? And it was just that easy, right? So I always knew it was a gift that I was able to do it. Didn't know I was serving God in what I did at the time, but now when I wanted to bring it back, right, and I wanted to align it with the journey I was going on, I brought it back to have it as a connection with people while they sat in the chair and speak to them about the journey, about spirituality, about God, all these things when you're in the chair that was built with this vision. And for me, that's serving, because I know my purpose in that is through God to talk in whatever he comes in the spirit of what he's talking about in that time, whether it's a father and son, and in spirit something comes up with what's happening with them, whatever that is. So to do serving for God and the path, like when I look at this and I think about, it describes a piece of work, because for that for me, that's only a piece of the work that I'm doing for God, for myself. It's a piece of it. But the path was already there for me. I just didn't see it yet. But this kind of ties it all in also on that for me. That's what showed up for me.
I love that. I love that. Yeah. And Shy and Dre.
Okay, so what's coming?
And Lonnie.
Right, I'm trying to make sense of it. So I understand that a job is just a piece of the work. So it's a piece of the bigger puzzle. It's a piece of the bigger picture, the job, right? And then for career, what's coming up for me is we're always looking, well, as a child, when you're talking about what do you want to be when you grow up, right? As you get older and you're trying to figure out what it is that you want to be, you're looking for a career, something that you're able to find some type of longevity in, longevity, stability, security, right? But realizing that this is a race course or a roadway, quote unquote, it seems like you are on a hamster wheel, to me at least, right? In some shape, form, or fashion. And where does this roadway or path lead you to? And is there an ending to this road, right? So normally in most careers, at the end of your career, you're going to retire, right? So there is an end of the road in some point. Now your job may be just a portion of that career. Your profession is just something that you have been titled with, right? That you can be, Kehlani, I can't get my thoughts together. But like your profession is something that you can be awarded for, or how you move up throughout your career, like the different accolades that you have received, or titles, right? But for any of this, even for the profession to say that it's vows entering into a religious order, none of it really feels like purpose to me. None of these words actually feel like your purpose, your calling, right? So now I can see having to go through a job, maybe, okay, this is a small piece of work, but I feel like all three of these are just a puzzle piece to the bigger picture. And finding what it is that feels like work, well, like your sacred work.
Right.
may
Right.
not be any of those things specifically. They may all just align to get you to that next level, to that purpose. Like for me, my profession, I am I'm in insurance sales, right? So I am declarated, I have my licenses, I can sell this, I can do that. But it doesn't feel purposeful unless I'm having a meaningful conversation with someone that I can match minds with, right? That I can, like I say, I sell, but I don't like to feel like a salesperson. I don't like to sell people on things. And what I want you to see the value in this. So I want to give you all that I know so that you see the value and the purpose behind it. I don't want you to just do it because, oh, it's going to get me some money and, oh, it's going to save you a buck on your auto insurance.
Right.
Like, no, you need life insurance. God forbid something happens to you. Who's going to take care of your family if you cannot? Right? Let's get to the nitty gritty, having the hard conversation. And I feel like I'm always put in a place to have a hard conversation. I don't know why. Anyway,
Perhaps because you do it so well, Shy.
right. So, but what makes me feel good is being able to help someone in some shape or form, right? So whether that be with selling them something that's of value that's going to help them in the future, or realizing how it did help them because someone in their family ended up passing and we wrote this policy and they're able to get what they need in order to put this family member away. So in that case, or with just now moving into what I think will be my sacred work and trying to get that up off the floor, because I'll be able to connect with people, have them move and use that movement to make them feel better, to have that experience, to lighten themselves. And I don't know, what do you feel, Joy? You got anything?
So Tasha's in the chat. She said, "Good reflection."
Yeah, good.
Shy and Dre.
Definitely good reflection.
Yeah.
Majority of the bases.
Right. Okay. And then I'm sorry. So because I got a lot. It's rambling. Besides the actual work of how to work through community and how to work through my actual profession, what's coming up for me is how to work within my family. Like what role I need to play within that family dynamic, and realizing what roles are assigned to me and where I shouldn't be trying to relinquish or put off or delegate certain things, because it may be my lane and I don't really need you to step on my toes in my lane, and you're not really trying to step on my toes. It's just that I'm trying to give you some work that's not for you.
Ashe, right? So we talked about that, like, right? So Ashe on that.
So yeah, it's a lot that's coming up, and it's a lot that's showing its face, rearing its head this week already. So yeah,
you open the portal for it. It's what happens, right, Sha? Like that's what happens.
Right.
You open the portal, and the sacred work starts to show up.
Right.
Yeah.
Finding the alignment. Yes.
Ashe, I love so many elements of that. I'm like, I don't even know where to begin, right?
There.
But go back to the way you reference the puzzle, because honestly, that's how I see this too, right? So understanding that a career is a pathway, that resonates with me, right? Understanding that it's a means of travel. It's a way through or a way to get to a specific destination, so to speak, right?
Right.
And so when you understand that that's what a career is, then there's a few things that come to mind, because there are a lot of times where people really can get completely absorbed into their careers, and who they are in their career becomes who they are in life.
Yes.
Where it's like, my being is tied to this career.
Correct.
Like, who am I without this career? You know what I mean? And understanding that the intention behind the word is really for it to be a vessel for you to travel through to reach a different space or a different time. That's really clarifying. And then understanding that a profession is a vow ties into what you were saying too, Sha, because when you talk about your sacred work with your family, there are vows we take with our families, right? Like there are vows we take to nurture our children, right?
Mm-hmm.
There are vows we take in our relationships, you know, with significant others. Like there are vows even in that space. So I hear you on that too, Sha. And then for those where it's an actual work in terms of professional orientation, like, you know, something you've studied to be, but understanding that it states that really what makes it your profession is simply that you publicly declare it, that you publicly take a vow for it. When I hear that, I immediately envision the villages, right? I immediately envision our indigenous people on the indigenous lands, and before the landscape of having higher education and all the certifications that elevate you into these professions,
Mm-hmm.
what existed was you simply professing that that's what I am.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm capable of doing. That's what I vow to deliver.
Mm-hmm.
So if you were the storyteller, if you were the medicine woman, if
Right.
you were the healer, if you were the cook, if you were the community, dweller in any other way,
Right.
you were that because you said so.
Right.
Because you said so, and now you publicly declared so.
Right.
So now the community holds you responsible for leaning into what you stated.
Right.
So that's how I see that. And then to add to that again, Sha, what you're saying about this puzzle, right? So then that last piece being the job, understanding that the job is like a piece, right?
Mhm.
So it means if we're using even our home as a community space, right? Perhaps my role in the space is not to be the publicly declared dishwasher,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
But it doesn't mean that I can't do that job from time to time. It's not that I am assuming the responsibility of that to say I will be the person who does this,
Right.
right? It's just saying I'm able to take on pieces of this landscape and actually do certain jobs without having all of these ties to it, you know? So it's just a beautiful thought. And thank you for calling it out as being a puzzle, because that's what it
Yeah.
feels like.
Yeah. I mean, and just, to add to what you're saying, like, so I sit and I think about this, like when you talk about even community where somebody, that was brought up in a different time where, it wasn't the jobs and everything the way it is now. When you sat back and you understood what your gift was, the medicine man or the storyteller, whatever, it truly came organically, right? Natural, like of what it was. Like you was, you're the storyteller because look how naturally you tell stories, and you was able to do that natural. Where now, like, you get caught up in, you have to have a job, you have to have a career. So you pick whichever one, the money's good, or maybe you got to hook up somewhere, so they tell you come down to the union. You're in that. You're not picking something necessarily that you're called to, right? So you're going that route, and it becomes your career, but it's just your path to find out who you really are. Because, like you said, your career can become who you are, right? Until you become self-aware, right? And then you understand who you really are, and your job doesn't define you. Then you define your career, right? So that's what I was getting while you was talking. I'm like, wow, it's just how that path becomes, different when you become more aware of self.
It's so true. It's so true. And I have something to add to that, because that just sparked a thought for me too. But we are going to go to Queen Megan.
Yes.
Greetings, sis. Greetings.
Greetings. Everybody just hit everything I was going to say. So now I feel like I don't need to belabor the point. The one thing that might be slightly different is the concept of job and how it's a piece of work. Understanding that there are different tasks and jobs within that career path. So your job might be to, for example, so my job, I am a customer experience strategist. I analyze data and I try to develop solutions for our customers and for our internal staff to help, make it a better environment and experience for everybody. So that might be my job. So with my career, but in that, there's the job of analyzing data, the job of presenting that data, the job of creating the solutions. There's different tasks within the job, within the career, that you would consider jobs. And by doing those jobs, I help to not necessarily define me, but define what it is that resonates with me. I can't connect with what my divine assignment is in my sacred work if I don't know what resonates with my being. And I have to do the job or the work in order to find that. So when Sha mentioned the hamster wheel, immediately that was like the rat race, the hustle. You get caught up in the hustle of trying to get the money, like Brother James said, trying to get the money or trying to have a quote unquote profession so you can profess how great you are in this space. You can have status in this space. You can look a certain way in this space. So those were the thoughts that came to mind. But no matter what, if you're not willing to do those jobs, those tasks, even the mundane, ugly ones that don't have the pretty professional title behind them, but they're the steps necessary for you to have the grounding and the footing to put everything you have, blood, sweat, and tears, and spirit and joy and love into your sacred work. So that's that. I am complete. Before I get to rambling.
Right. It's all good. Look, I mean, yeah.
Good
Yeah. So many things came up for me between you mentioning this and also James prior, because to your point, says, I mean, I think this is where a lot of times for some people, imposter syndrome pops in, right? Because you're doing things, right? Where it, to your point, says it could be that it's a task, you know, within the career, or it could be your full-on job, or it could be a profession, but none of it really ties you into feeling like it is who you are and what your true purpose is. And so when you step forward to speak confidently about that, it doesn't feel like that, because in all true honesty, it's not.
Right.
It's not. So I think that there have been phrases thrown out there like imposter syndrome that make people feel like, well, you can just get over that and keep pushing. But really, that feeling is there. And we've learned this, right, along the way. That feeling is there to check you. That feeling is there to say, are you showing up authentically?
Right.
Should you really just keep pushing past that feeling? You know, and to cause you to really investigate yourself more deeply. So I love what you shared on that. The idea that there's the job that lies within, right, the career through all of the layers of the tasks. And we can have varying levels of experiences with those tasks within it, you know, some that bubble up as the thing that we love about the role, right? And then those things that cause us some stress and strain. So just a beautiful thought.
Yeah.
The other thing that I wanted to share is that in the work that I've been doing, right, in terms of like spiritual work and spiritual coaching and so forth, I have met a lot of sisters and even some brothers, right, who do this kind of work. And one of the things that I immediately realized kind of gives me a sense of ease in the work that I'm doing is the idea that I do have a career. I do have a career. Like there are a lot of people, and I don't knock it, right? It's, you know, we're not all here to deliver on the same assignment. But I do realize that for my assignment, because I do feel impactful in the work that I do energy-wise in the utility, it remains a way for me to navigate through a pathway, right? To not always having to monetize my sacred work, not always looking to put my needs ahead of what God needs me to be delivering and doing, right? So I'll be honest with you all, there have been some amazing opportunities that I've absolutely turned down. And not because Tanasia didn't think it was a good opportunity, but because it wasn't a God opportunity for me. You know what I mean? Like that was not the nudge or the message that I received from the Most High
Mhm.
about my assignment right now.
Mhm.
So if it's not in alignment, no matter how tempting it might be for me financially, how tempting it might be for me, even ego-wise, right? Oh, it's gonna boost you publicly in some way.
Mhm.
I've had to say no,
Right.
right? And not had to because I'm being told to, but because intuitively I know that it's not aligned. And by pushing myself to spend time doing that,
Mhm.
I now remove my availability and my capacity to do the things that God really wants me to be doing. And so I just say that to say my career, when I learned that the derivative of it, the root of it being my pathway, it resonates with me so deeply because it really truly is the way that I can deliver on these things without having to feel like I have to hustle,
Right.
you know?
Wow. That's in such alignment because again, brother AJ and I was having this conversation on lunch as we was enjoying the day and the beauty of the sun at the park with nature. And we're talking about this.
Can we just say how dope that is that you both thought to do that
Right.
on your lunch break? Like
Right.
these wellness warriors are
I-
showing up, y'all.
It is life.
Yeah.
Like you said, like this is not an act, this is life, right? So, and we're sitting there talking about in alignment of what you're saying. We was talking and brother AJ was saying like, wow, man, like this is our last job that we'll ever have, like being at the water company, right? To think about that it's going to be, this is the end of that, right? You'll never have another job like this, right? Because after this, it'll be retirement or whatever else you're going to do in your personal life. And we was talking about, and I was saying like, yeah, it's when you sit down and think about it, the path how you got here. Everybody had a different path. He was talking about his path and where he would be personally if he didn't come to this job and where it would have took him being at that job. And I was like, yeah, same for me. Like, when you talk about what's given to you on a plate, we know like as far as what was given to me, title, money wise at that job, that we walked in faith to this one. Like, no matter how good this looks and how much financially this would be, and title wise, this is the path that I need to go. You go to this path, and this path leads you down another path personally, spiritually, where you also have the time now to do this type of work, where maybe on the other one you wouldn't have had that.
Yeah.
And talking about the pathways of, I almost feel like sometimes like even before you know what's happening, your path is being created. And if you are walking in faith, even though you may not know where that path is leading right then, you see later on how everything aligned for you to get to where you need to get to.
Exactly. It falls into place.
Yeah.
And that's what Melinda was talking about earlier on, right?
Right.
Saying that things always they rise into place.
Right.
They rise into place, right? So I just love that.
Yeah.
I love that thought. And like you said, so even y'all are family, right? So even add in a bit more context. So James left a job, a career, right? Now we're understanding
Can I just
the
say,
difference.
wait, hold on, just really quick. I'm not gonna be scared, but whenever you lead with y'all are family,
James like, what's she about to say?
and they say my name, I'm like, whoa, wait, where we going? What you about to say? Hold on. I mean, all right, go ahead. I trust. Go ahead.
He'll be okay, right? Y'all are here to catch him. So just thinking about, so James transitioned out of a career that he was in for 16 years, the space where he and I actually met, and ventured into a space of really what was unknown.
It served its purpose.
It served its purpose, right? Because it brought our union together and it brought us some amazing friendships. And yeah, it definitely served purposes for sure. And so he transitioned out of that after being there for 16 years and turned down a counter offer that was quite sizable. Like, I mean, would be able to change our life in a lot of ways. And he turned that down because we were thinking long term and we were thinking wellness, understanding that certain prices just aren't worth the pay, right? So if it's going to deteriorate his health, to take on more and more and more, because it was one of those roles where, you know, if you do well, the reward is you get more work, right? You get more people that you're leading, more spaces that you're tending to, more territory that you're managing,
Stress.
kind of a thing, more stress.
Yeah.
And I'm like, babe, I think that's all wonderful that that's what they want to offer you. But the reality is, what we would prefer to have is you to be here. We want your physical presence more than we need the additional income.
Right.
And so we really were thinking wellness,
Yes.
and also, you know, long term in terms of, you know, the things like pensions and what our life could be like down the road.
Right.
And we made the decision that holistically made sense. That holistically made sense. And yeah, you really stepped out on faith because you didn't know this new business at all. You went there in a leadership capacity and you had a huge learning curve, right? And yet at 16 years in, where you could have been like, look, I'm always almost to the end of this and I'm going to retire.
Right.
You were like, I'm going to take this change.
Start all over. And
and I'm going to preserve my life. I'm
Yeah.
going to stay here as long as I can be here physically well for my family. And I just think that's amazing.
And you know what's more amazing is that I served God in not only us coming together and making a decision in faith, but then God says, you made the right decision. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to give you the power to bless others. Right. And I go out now and I pull people from the job I was at to come to this job.
Let's go.
Or
Let's go.
brothers I know.
Because we are a portal for the community. All of us are, right?
We're gonna pull in. This is a blessing. I need to pull somebody else into this blessing. Right. And I believe that you know, God will put some things on your plate. And I'm thankful when I look back at it that, you know, when you lead with your heart and you lead with love, you know, again, going back to being the man of self-mastery, and you're leading in love and light and in faith, your blessings go out to others as well, you know, and that's serving God, you know, that's serving God.
Ashe.
Ashe. Yeah. That was,
Ashe.
Yeah. It's
not to mention, I'm just to put it on the record, he brought the Brown folks in.
Yeah,
okay.
That was my intention. My intention was like, yo, this is all, we need us here. You know,
really and truly, right? Because the diversity is necessary, representation is necessary, and you were like the first one to the extent, well, among the first,
right?
To the extent that when you were met there were other people that were like, we're really happy you're here.
Yeah.
And it gives us a sign that the culture is changing.
Yes.
You know, it's
and just really quick too, just to say, just a quick little story about the job and all that too is, you know, when you lead with faith and you lead with love and light, right? And really in that moment, before I even knew what I was doing it to the point where I knew that I was in this position to pull others in. I even pulled somebody in that I was not friends with, that we did not have a good relationship at the job that I came from. They actually had a lot of controversy through my career there, but he was another brother. And I saw him and me,
community,
and him, right? I knew he was a brother with a family that needs his blessing just as much as I do. So no matter how I thought about you personally throughout our career at this other place, I'm gonna pull you in over here because I know this is what God wants me to do for you and your family.
So on that thought, how did that change his life and your relationship, the you know, between the two of you?
Well, honestly, it's crazy because when I called him and told him about it, he was shocked because he was like, wait, like you're not at my company, you're not at this company anymore. This is not about business anymore. This is personal. Like he was so appreciative and humble that I would even reach out to him for it. And I told him, I said, listen, and I was honest. I was like, no matter what we ever been through there, you're a brother just like me. And I see you and me and you. And if I'm ever in a position, I would expect the same thing for you. When God is working through you, we got to pass this back on to our brothers.
Yeah.
You know, he's the same age as me, same like backstories. I was like, we have to continue to bless each other as community as we continue to build this.
Ashe.
That's our assignment.
Ashe.
That's our assignment. Ashe. Yeah, that's our assignment.
Oh my gosh.
That's our assignment. We got.
So we've got.
Chat.
Yes, we do. We've got some comments in the chat. So what we looking at here, and we've got a visitor. So AJ and Tosh said this is good. And they said, and if you don't follow alignment, you're just taking the long way to the path God already planned for you anyway.
And wait,
I shade to that.
stop on that for 1 minute. Can I just say, I just like, and I don't want to blow this up and put this out there, but I just love to see that title.
The
right there.
update. Absolutely. We love the togetherness there.
That's it.
Ashe. And then Queen Megan says, love all this. The sacred work fills and enriches the soul, even if it doesn't fill pockets. Come on with that, sis.
Ashe.
Again, okay, rewind.
That's it.
Love all of this. The sacred work fills and enriches the soul, even if it doesn't fill pockets with riches. Okay, Ashe, Ashe. And then Queen Tatiana said, I am loving all of this. Ashe. This is what, so when we understand the differentiation between a career and a profession and a job, and then how that even differs from our sacred work, we understand how to make it work for us. Like Sha said, pieces of the puzzle. What piece do you need? Right? So if my sacred work doesn't call me to monetize it, I need a career and a pathway. Right. And I'll be honest, there's a lot of reasons, right, for the messaging that we have, right? Like there's the messaging that you hear. Perfect example. I'll tell you this. I have sat over the years, and it's been a long time since I've sat for one of these, where you kind of go into a space and they say, we've got a great financial opportunity for you. And we want to tell you about a product, right? And then you get in there and it's like a multi-level marketing setup, right? Which have been successful for some people, right? So not knocking that either, right? But there was just something about the moment when there's the discussion around a job or the discussion around a career, and there's this notion that you need to be setting a goal to abandon it, right? Setting a goal to leave that structure, setting a goal to move from that into this. And it just didn't feel to me like it was an alignment. Not for me. Now I get for some people that it might, but for me, that would always be the moment where I'm like, this is not the setting for me. Because I just always knew that this in some way was feeding something for me. Now, granted, feeding my family, myself as well, but also feeding something. So now understanding that the something is, it creates the pathway so that I can lean into the sacred work and really make it about God.
There you go.
And really make it about God.
There you go.
That's the game changer for me. Game changer. And Tatiana says, serving with love and light. Ashe. Ashe. Exactly. So we're going to go deeper. We're going to go deeper, family. So now we're talking about, these are the words that come up when we're talking about careers, when we're talking about work in general, even if it's in the household space, right? Family dynamics, whatever. Words like priority, responsibility, obligations, they get thrown into the mix. We thought it'd be a perfect opportunity for us to really discuss what makes these things different. So we can be really intentional about what we're speaking into existence here, what we're asking our partners for. Because I got to tell y'all, and we mentioned this before, James and I, it's been 12 weeks. James and I have had 12 conflicts. It's like there is every week, there's a portal that opens where we see things very differently, and we've got to navigate through it in order to land in this space. And I have to say, by the time we get to Tuesday and we're doing this, I feel so much lighter and I feel like we have arrived. But if you check on us on Monday, check on us on Monday, I'm telling you.
The whole week, good.
Facial expressions look different. Like we are kind of like, ooh, like this is, So I say that to say, these are the words that came up, right? Priority, responsibility, obligation, right? These are the kind of phrases that happen. I would like for you to make such and such a priority. I would like for you to make me a priority. I felt the responsibility to do X, Y, and Z. We both have the obligation to do this, right? That's kind of the template for how these discussions go, right? I know we're not alone, but thinking about where these words derive. So we've got priority, which refers to the level of importance that's given to a task, action, or issue. It's about ranking and ordering things. Ranking and ordering things based on their urgency, significance, or value. Sha brought that word up earlier, or value, right? So there's the, thank you, man. He's rolling up my sleeve for me. Since I keep pushing him up.
Go ahead, keep talking. I got you.
So it refers to the ranking order. So really, there's a fine line between priority, responsibility, and obligation. But the emphasis for priority is really on the order. Where do things fall in terms of the totem pole, right? That's the priority. So then we've got responsibility. So responsibility, it involves the duties, the roles, the tasks, right? That a person is expected to perform or uphold. So it says responsibilities often arise from one's position, role in a family, workplace, or society. They imply a sense of accountability and moral or ethical obligation, but they are not necessarily legally binding, right? Responsibilities can be broad and ongoing and may encompass various aspects of personal, professional, or communal life. Responsibilities, right? So we've got priority, which means where things stack in terms of numeric or sequential order. And then there's responsibility, which is because I am this person in this space, this is the thing that I have agreed that I will be responsible to do. And you can expect that of me. And then there's obligation. And so obligation refers to a more specific, sometimes even legal or contractual binding commitment or agreement to do something, right? Obligations are typically non-negotiable. So it means this is the thing you have to do, like a stop sign, right? Like you have to stop at a stop sign because if you do not, there are consequences legally for that. So those are obligations. So when we're asking ourselves what's being expected of us, when we're looking and questioning what we're expecting of others, understanding which one of these is at play for us, right? Whether it's psychologically or emotionally. Are you looking to be made a priority? Is there someone who you believe you can expect to take care of a certain responsibility? Going back to what Sha was talking about earlier, right? Where perhaps the responsibility is on you. You looking for somebody else to do it. And then there's angst or conflict because they're not, when really it's on you, right? It's on you. And then there's the obligation, which is, this is the thing that you have to do regardless. The law says so, whether it's your spiritual law, whether it's your governance law, whatever that is, right? But there's an actual obligation associated, right? So these are the things that come up even in when we're thinking about whether we're choosing a career, whether we're choosing a job, whether we're choosing a profession, how it allows or aligns with our sacred work, right? And which of these boxes does it check? You know what I'm saying? So holding on to that thought, right? We'll go in a little deeper. So now we're talking about, so far, right? Just one back again. We talked about priority, responsibility, and obligation, right? We talked about career, profession, and job. Now we're talking about an assignment. What is the assignment, right? So assign originates from the Latin word, and it means to mark or to designate. To mark or to designate. All these words mean something. They have different flavor to them. And I think a lot of us use them interchangeably, right? So it means to mark something for a purpose, to designate, or to allot, right? And just to go on a little bit further, in modern English, assign has come to generally mean to designate something, such as a task or a resource, right, to someone, or it also means to appoint someone to a position. And it also retains the core idea of designating or marking out, right? So when we talk about divine assignment, when we talk about understanding the sacred work, which means the work that you're doing for God and how you're going to do it, right? Or how you're going to create that. And then the thought of resting into exploring what is your actual assignment,
Right.
right? So the question that gets posed here is, what do you believe? What have you been shown that God has designated to be the thing you are here to do? So this is what Sha was talking about, right? So I'm here in this space showing up as myself. And this is a true story, right? From myself, I can say there have been times in my life where I show up as myself in a space, and then I'm annoyed because I'm the only one showing up as me, because I'm expecting everyone to show up as me, to think the way I'm thinking, right? To have the thoughtfulness that I feel that I have, right? When in actuality, if that's me, that's me. That's my assignment.
Right.
That's the thing that I bring to the table, right?
Right.
What is the thing that you bring to the table? And when I can reduce my need to be mirrored, right? Not even mirrored, right? To be duplicated, because
Right.
we know even in a mirror, it's slightly opposite, right?
Right.
So to be duplicated.
Right.
So instead of me looking to duplicate myself, but instead I hold space for acceptance of people showing up as who they are and getting into the root of what their divine assignment is to bring to the table. Now we're talking about a true community. That's what we've been doing, y'all.
Right.
That's what we've been doing for 11 weeks.
Right.
And now we're in the 12th. That's what we're doing. We have been carving out what our divine assignments are. So asking us, everyone, right? And I'm going to open this back up to the floor. What is it that you and how it's interesting because I really want to ask two questions. I want to ask two questions. So I'm just going to put them out there instead of trying to bake them in together. Okay. So the first question I want to ask is, what is the thing that over the years you have been looking for in others because it resides in you? What is the thing that you do that makes you great, that makes you thoughtful, that is the divinity in you, that is the God in you, that you've been wanting from others, that you've been looking for reciprocation on? What is that? That's one thought, right? What is that? The other thought is, what is the thing that people come to you for? What do people come to you for? Right? And not to say that everything people come to you about is necessarily the thing you need to be considering as your sacred work, but it's definitely information. It's definitely a part of the investigation. So I'm gonna just open that up there to everyone who wants to speak into the call about what is the thing that you bring to the table that for a while you were looking for from other people until you realize it's what you bring to the equation. Anybody have any thoughts on that? Okay, Queen Melinda, greetings.
Hello, I'm back. I had to drop for a little bit. I'm back. The one thing I would say is the one thing that I bring is putting myself in other people's shoes and looking at it from their view instead of my own bias and what I think. And a lot of folks just don't do that. It's a lot of folks I'm realizing is what I think is what I feel is what is fact, and that's what it is. When and I guess tying it into the second question is a lot of folks come to me because I give them different point of views, even outside of what I believe, but what I've also seen. Yeah. And I think it's so important. All walks of life have so many different dynamics, and it's important to just kind of be open to things not being what you would like it to be.
Ashe. I love that. And that, oh my goodness. So Melinda, the first thing I have to say to that, and I know James is gonna be like, yeah, your feelings are not facts. That's my line. So it's like, I love that. Okay. So we are here on that for sure. Your feelings can feel like facts.
Right.
It can feel like pure truth to you, but the reality is just what you feel. Right. And sometimes if you allow the emotion to move, you don't even feel that way yourself anymore.
Right.
So I love that reflection about your feelings not being facts. That's first off. The other thing I have to say, sis, from what I know of you and even what you just shared, Queen Melinda, is, in my opinion, right? That's a sign of a leader. The person who can have that agile, flexible state of being able to be in a space where you don't necessarily agree with what someone else believes, thinks, and does, but it's okay because you're able to at least try to see it from their point of view. There's a lot of people who don't accept that assignment.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of people who just haven't accepted that assignment.
Right.
And so I think that when we think of a leader, you know what I'm saying? That's what's needed. And so when you think about the community, everybody doesn't have to be a leader. Okay, but at the end of the day, this capitalistic world will make you believe that in order to achieve and in order to have the success that you want, that
Right.
there's only specific ways of attaining that, and have everybody looking to be the same thing.
Right.
When in actuality, we all have our varying skill sets. So sis, when you say you have that ability, and I know you do, I have worked with you, right? So you have the ability to hear other people and see their point of view, even when it's different from you. And then you have the ability to give feedback that is unique to the initial thought that this person had. That's leadership. That's leadership from a very servant leadership space, from a very loving space, as you indicated, right, babe?
Yeah.
So give thanks for that.
Yes.
Give thanks for that. And so I said all of that, by the way, Queen Melinda, to say, if that's the thing that people come to you for, and it's also the thing that you have identified as your gift, it is great information for your sacred work. You know, great information for understanding your sacred work. And so we're going to go to Brother AJ, Sister Tasha. Greetings.
Greetings. So to answer the question, well, I want to say what Melinda said was something that I had to grow into after reading, well, on the journey and reading that book by the Seven Spiritual
Deepak Chopra.
Deepak Chopra, yeah, that book, and just reflecting on that, like another perspective, always looking at it that way, that has helped me in so much when people come to me for what I'm about to say, to help them to see another perspective, or but I was gonna say, for me, when I look at what I looked for in other people, that I was just genuine authenticity, like just right, wrong, different, left, right, like I'm okay with sharing where I'm at, like not in the overshare. I think at one point when I was younger, it may have been an overshare, but and just learning, like just owning what it is. This is the story. This is where, this is how it helped me. This is how it bruised me. This is what, and to think about what people come to me for. They're coming to me because they come to me for that authenticity, because they know that it's going to be real. It's going to be, good, bad, or ugly, however you, and when I said in the comment about your alignment comes back, if you go against it, it's going to come back anyway, because in this week, a full circle moment for myself and what I'm really supposed to be doing was revealed to me. And so it's like, okay, the youth is where my heart is at. My heart work is the youth. My heart work is girls. Even though I'm a boy mom, my heart work is girls because of my story and because of my authenticity. I own my story, the traumas that happened to me, and I can use that to reach the young girls that are experiencing the same thing. And so, and giving them tools and letting them know that your past doesn't dictate your future. What happened to you or where you are right now doesn't stop you from becoming a better person, from doing the things that you love, and for being your best self. So I was pulling away from that for so long and thinking that, it was women, and thinking that, being that I had this authentic relationship and my story was so raw and was so, maybe not vulgar, but like just traumatizing. I was running from the word trauma and not wanting to give that to the people that very well need it, and that who I'm called to serve. So Yeah, so that's just pretty much that. And then I was asked a couple of months ago, almost a half a year ago, to be a part of a book called What Would I Tell My Younger Self? And people have been asking me, when you writing a book, when you're writing a book. And I wasn't called to writing a book, but when this came, it was like, oh wow, because it's just a chapter. And I'm sharing what would I tell my younger self. So I don't have to do a whole book, and then using that as, you know, a way to share with other girls what would I tell my younger self. And it's a powerful chapter with a framework in it that they can use to help themselves. So
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
A lot of good
So
stuff
that's
there.
awesome. That is awesome.
Yeah.
And the fact that all those reflections came during the week of the portal opening for Sacred Work. Okay, we don't believe in
Right.
coincidence.
Right. Look how
Right?
it comes up. Look how it
So
comes up.
Ashe, and congratulations on that. Says I know you mentioned that in the Queen's chat, but we just gonna congratulate you again here, you know, also in the collaborative space on that. And it's interesting because, you know, it really depends also on the stage of your life that you're open to sharing, right? So sometimes when we're thinking about who the message is for, to your point, and this is just the thought that came up for me, Tosh, when you mentioned it, sometimes that part of your story you've been cultivating the longest. Sometimes that part of your story you've been learning the longest. And so you feel most confident in that. And then that becomes the mission, right? And then it's okay if when you become more comfortable with your current stories, right? The current things that are going on for you, to make the shift. And the reason why I'm thinking about that thought is because so often you hear people refer to your purpose as if it has to be defined with a period on the end of the sentence, right? Your purpose can ebb and flow. It can bend and flex. It doesn't have to be the same all the time, you know? It doesn't have to be static. It can be very dynamic in the sense that it's always transitioning.
Right.
So as you learn more parts of yourself and become honest with more parts of yourself and clear about the messaging and the lessons in those parts,
Right.
you can make the shift, you know? So I know, Tosh, you mentioned like you were thinking that perhaps your ideal client may be women, and maybe it still is. But maybe that's the next leg of the pathway. You know what I mean? Maybe that's the next leg, because right now, if what you have become the subject matter expert on is the trauma of your youth, then maybe that's why that's the current lane. And then when you feel like maybe you're leaning into the subject matter expertise of the next layer, then it reveals another.
Yeah.
But it's just so it's so, I think, essential for us to give ourselves the grace to know it can change. And so I appreciate you sharing that you are having that ebb and flow, right? And that you are thinking about where to make the shift, you know?
Yeah.
For sure. And yet, just to that point, definitely, because it was like, okay, I had to like really like just shut down, like really just sit still and like really disconnect and really think about like, this feels good, but this is not, it's not flowing as freely, right? Because again, when you're going through stuff, you have to have healed from it, have accepted it, acknowledged it, and you know, be able to share it, because you don't want to be bleeding all over people because you're still going through the processes of whatever that is. And so being holding other women accountable and holding myself accountable is one thing, but to empower and inspire young girls to know that they can grow and that whatever they're going through is not the end all be all, right? Because I'm a testament to that, is what really lights me up in this moment. But yeah, I'm definitely with the ebbs and flow of what it is.
Ashe, I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. And you're right? Like, you know, you could be in a stage that you're still in a space of heal. I think we're always in a space of healing, but yes, you can be in a space of healing and it's still very raw. You know what I'm saying? To be able to share while you're moving through it. So I totally understand it, and I give thanks for that share. I do. Ashe. And Queen Megan.
Greetings once again. I love that thought. First of all, congratulations once again. Tasha, congratulations. Big congrats. And I love the whole conversation that was just had, because it was like the epiphany of your purpose can be a theme and not a pinpointed place on the dartboard. So in the spirit of the chapter Meshkinet, you're birthing something. So maybe the arm has formed now and the leg has formed now. And so, yeah, that was just mind blown. But to answer the question, what I was looking for outside of me and in others was peace and safety. I was looking for places I could feel safe to show up, places that felt safe and calm and good for my spirit. And I did a exercise for another group that I'm in, where I reached out to my friends and I asked them, like, point blank, like, okay, what do you come to me for? Like, what do you think my gifts are? What do you think my weaknesses are? What did you see me struggle through? And the one thing that came up was peace and a space of regulation, to where I gave them the ability to sift through their emotional headspace and come back to an even balance so that they could see things clearly. So I might offer perspective, but in the end, they felt like they had a better opportunity to see the full picture once they got themselves to a more calm state. So I appreciated the exercise because, one, I didn't have to assume it, and it wasn't something that I pieced together with my patterns in my mind to be what it is, trying to create a path for myself. It was nice to have that as confirmation and affirmation. And when I heard assignment, that was the thing that came to mind. It's like, you are marked for this. You are not just picking up your assignment.
That's right.
You were marked for it. This was for you. So no matter who does what you do, they're not doing what you do, because you can only do what you do. So that was that. So I am complete.
Ashe, I love that. I absolutely love that. And it's so true, right? We can all be doing the same thing and doing it totally different. Right. Essentially, it's not the same. It's never going to be the same.
You are you.
So I love that reminder. Your pathway is not, there's no traffic on it.
Right.
There's no traffic. It doesn't matter how many people are doing what you're doing. It's your pathway.
Right.
It's free and clear, and I love that reminder. I love that reminder. And then I also love the idea of asking people, what is it that I provide for you? What is it? And when you have those sorts of relationships where they are clear about what it is you provide, they are clear about the value that you add to their life, it says a lot about what they see in you, but it also says a lot about who you've chosen to have in your life. So it says you've got dope people in your life who you could go to and ask a question and get something that's in such alignment with who you know yourself to be. So kudos to you on all your choices there. So Ashe. And Sha and Dre, brother Sha. I mean, listen to me, brother Ja. Brother Dre.
No, she didn't. So I feel like what I bring to the table would be, I'm very observant, right? I'm very observant. I can read a room. I can read a person. There's not much I feel like is hidden for me, right? Honestly, low-key believe that I was an investigator in my past life. So, yeah, I can pretty much read. I can read people. I can read body language, but I think that has a lot to do with my upbringing as well, because my mom didn't really, or our mom, she didn't really speak of her feelings. She removed her feelings from anything and everything. But being around her most times, I knew how she was feeling, what she was feeling, and how I could come to her or bring her certain things without her reacting in certain ways. Right. So learning her allowed me to gain this ability to read people and their emotions with reading between the lines. And I feel like what people come to me for is usually that investigative tool. Like they want something to be more clear. They're coming to me for, okay, let me see. Shock. Even if at work, it's, oh, I don't really know how to do this. I know you probably know. Can you figure out? Yeah, I got it. So it's usually reading between the lines, finding the small details that someone is missing, that people usually come to me for. Yeah. And how that aligns with my sacred work for me would be, I don't even know if it's my sacred work just yet, but other than a hobby or something that I love, but numbers, numerology, astrology, it helps me make sense of things. And even how things show up for me and others. So yeah.
Ashe.
Yes.
Ashe. Yeah, I have to tell you because, Sha, and first of all, I have to co-sign, right? So it's interesting when I would say this was not this year, last year, January 1st, I did my first ever sister circle, right? Small circle. A few of my sisters were in the building tonight, were there that day as well, including my sister Sha, right? And so one of the things that I shared was an app. And actually, I could share with everyone here too. And if you're not already aware, I think I may have shared it with many, but the Pattern app. And so the Pattern app, essentially, you're putting in your birth date and it's putting all the information together to kind of bring you some coordinates that can tell you a little bit about what was going on cosmically and in the atmosphere at the time that you were born that could essentially be swaying the energies of who you are and how you operate, right? And I had started digging into it a bit and learning more about the information that was there for me and bringing in and telling other people. And then I mentioned it to Sha, and she began exploring. And when she talks about going into the details, sis went into the details. Okay. So there were parts of it that I had not explored, although I was using it for quite some time already. Right. So not only did she dig in further there, but then took that nudge and that spark of interest further to then take on courses to learn about it even more. And I am first of all, I do, I would just preface this by saying that I do believe in the path of Christ. And I also have my spirituality, which I don't necessarily believe they always have to intermingle in completion, right? That it gives me the flexibility and agility to really call forward what really resonates with me, right? Without any group think kind of a thing, right? However, I am of the thought that everything that is of this beautiful world, especially all things of nature, whether it's the cosmos, in terms of the sun, the moon, all things nature, including myself, they're all tools. So if there's a tool that's going to help me to understand myself, that whether it's through learning the atmosphere, learning numbers or so, I welcome it, right? I welcome it. When I tell you Sha took this thing and she ran with it, and now it has become such a gift to the family, so much so that this week when James and I experienced our conflict, she helped me to understand how he was actually being impacted by the eclipse. So off topic, right? But if you're interested in that, I would say definitely send your math and information to Sha. Look, Sha, I'm putting you out there. And connect with her on what resources she can bring towards your path, right? To help you understand how energetically things are moving through you. but it helped both James and I to understand how he specifically energetically is experiencing the change in the eclipse. So kudos to you, Sha, on that, and giving thanks for you identifying a layer of your sacred work. You know, and that's the theme here. I hear a lot of that. And I know Sister Megan was talking about how she brings peace and serenity, right? And there was a moment, and we can share this with the brothers now. There was a moment that we shared as sisters on our Queen's call. And Spirit literally was just like, shift into Megan and ask Megan at this moment to lead us into breathwork. To neutralize us, right? And to regulate us is the word she used that her friendship circle used to define her. But Spirit said, shift to Megan. So I literally said, Megan, you know, I'll put you on the spot. But Spirit is saying that you can help us. And she in that moment says, sis, you read my mind. And immediately hopped in. And the sisters will tell you, they were on the call, immediately hopped in and moved us through a breathwork facilitation that calmed us all and brought us to a beautiful, regulated central space where when we ended our call, we felt whole and complete and supported. So the sacred work is moving up and through. We've got Tasha and her chapter in the book that she's coming through with, her understanding even more so during this week of how she's going to refine her sacred work. You know what I mean? You mentioned yours. So many layers, you know, so many layers.
Wow.
So anybody else want to share about what they believe their connection is coming forward with in terms of their assignment and how it, you know, that the sacred work that lives within them? And actually, you know what? While you're thinking about that, I'm going to share a little bit more information. And these 2 slides next are actually going to be our homework. They're going to be our homework. So to give you the long and the short of this, the idea here is to unpack your wellness reflections, your interest, your spiritual priorities, now that we understand the difference in the priorities, obligations, and responsibilities, your purpose, your identifying of your sacred work, and so on. We've got balance, legacy, mindfulness, values. Keeping it as simple as possible when responding to all these questions. The idea is to unpack what is your divine assignment? What is your divine assignment? So starting with wellness, right? So there's describe a moment when you felt at your physical and mental best. What activities, habits, or environments were you engaging in, right? Recalling that. How can you incorporate more of these elements into your daily life? Skimming through some of these, let's talk about legacy. What kind of impact do you want to have on your community or the world, right? How can your interests and talents be used to create a legacy that aligns with your spiritual values, right? So these are the types of questions that you're going to go through. And this is going to be the heart of what we're talking about next week. We're going to talk about the logistics of what this means for us month over month, how we're going to meet, when we're going to meet, what this looks like, right, going forward, because we are a family and we're remaining that. But we're also going to be talking about what you unpacked to really get to the root of what is your divine assignment. So these are going to be the prompts to help you to do that. You can use them as discussion prompts, or you can use them as journal prompts, but really keeping documentation of, you know, where you land with these. The next one is the second layer of it, right? And it's more about, let me see here. Oops, do I have it in here? I think I don't have it in this one. I'll add it here. But the next layer of this is actually, and maybe this is a sign, but the next layer of this is actually whether or not you should be monetizing your sacred work. So the other slide that I'll add here and I'll share is whether or not you should be monetizing your sacred work. And I say should very loosely, right? Not should as I think, or even you think, but when you answer these questions that are aligned on that slide, it's about you communing with the Most High, the divinity within you, to understand how you can achieve that work in a way that feels like grace, ease, and flow, right? And if that means, so like I said, in my case, what feels like grace, ease, and flow is that I can do the things that God calls me to do without always having a self need, right? An ego need, a need monetarily for myself because I'm choosing a career that becomes my roadway, right? My path. So just understanding, if you have the ability to do that, what does that look like for you? What do you want your career or your pathway to look like? Or are you already on it? And does that now give you the motivation to remain on that path, understanding that it is a path? It's not a dead end, right? You don't always have to consider getting rid of it, right? There's a lot of messaging around, get rid of the job, quit your job and replace it with this other thing that is also work. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, it could be for many of us that's exactly what the Most High is calling you to do. But if you are like me, and that's not what the call is to be able to maintain the lanes, then that's okay too. Either way, there will be a slide with the actual prompts that lead you through thinking through whether or not you really should explore monetizing, or if monetizing it is not something that's necessary for you, at least at this juncture.
Right.
So any thoughts on that? So it looks like Shah and Dre have said, I'm ready for my numerology. Oh, Shah, this is Shah. I'm ready for my numerology. Oh, Megan said this.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Shah.
Megan says to Shah, I'm ready for my numerology inspired and planetary aligned Zumba session. Come on with the combo there.
Right.
Shake it to the stars and synchronicities. First of all, why do I love that so much as a title? Like, seriously, Megan? Shake it to the stars? Sign me up. Look at Shah's face. Look, she got the emoji going. Shake it to the stars and synchronicities?
That's it right there.
Oh my goodness.
That is it.
Everything we need is in the circle. Everything we need is in the circle.
Right. Oh,
yes.
Constance and Brother Truth.
I love that so much. Okay. Yes. The Constance, Brother Truth. Greetings, greetings.
Greetings, family. Greetings. I just had to share in the chat real quick because in this phase of Meshkinet standing out so much, I'm being led so seriously. I have women, a lot of women were at the community that come to me and are reaching out with, wanting advice on going to school or asking different questions. And sometimes just sharing a word of how to be softer at things or how to, be independent, but less rigid and stringent. So that's coming through, but I got to share for today. We were talking a little earlier about how we look at things in a career and how things show up. So today we're on the property and at 10:16, we get a notice from our head office that we're having a HUD inspection at 9 a.m. tomorrow. So I'm immediately stressed and we had to put notice out to the community. And so I was driving back from making a Ace Hardware trip and I'm like, yeah, they think it's so funny watching us stress and da-da-da-da. And my first mind, that's where I was going to, like, just negative because I'm already having a day and I've been, burning sage in my office, meditating, definitely, trying to keep my thoughts together. And lo and behold, here I got a chance. Another sister came to me and she got a chance to share with me how she was having an upheaval in her home because of the last minute, inspections coming up, and it sent her anxiety going. So I shared a little word with her that spirit revealed just to just flow into her. And then as we're pulling off, husband and I, the other tenant that was sitting out front, and mind you, these two were out there talking and had some people around. So I was thinking that, they're just kind of like, seeing us stress. And so then She offered a plate. She was out there grilling, they're out there grilling, and she's like sending me text messages before me and husband leave. I really wanted to give you a plate, and so she actually was cooking and grilling and made us a plate, so I couldn't eat, what's on there, but husband does. And I was like, wow, how thankful. And so what that really revealed to me in my Mesh Connect work that's showing up is that my divine femininity has affected these women in such a way that wow, they really have a love for what they see in us, in my husband and I, and then what they trust in me as that feminine person they come to. And a lot of this I've questioned, divine spirit, what are we doing? What do you want me to do? Why am I here? We first took on this contract and I was pretty upset with husband. He said, nope, divine spirit said, this is where we got to be. This is what it is. And so it's showing up because this is the beginning catalyst of the shaping and molding of me as the clay for what is to come, of sharing with the women, the sister circle that is there in for me and for our family and for our unity as a collective. And I'm just like, wow, divine spirit, I finally see it, like an aha moment. Wow. Just a burst of gratitude, but man, like a aha, like I see it. This is what you're trying to do. So I am so thankful to all the sisters, on the call that I've gotten a chance to experience and share energy with, because this is just opening up the layers. I mean, it's like just opening up those beautiful layers. So I want to say thank you for just hearing my story for today, but we came home stressed, but it's okay because we've affected a community in a way to where they see something better than they did before. They see a management team of husband and wife that really do, we care. We do care. So
Ashe. I love that so much on so many levels. Love that. I absolutely love that. When you say we care, and when we're thinking about this in terms of management, right? In terms of work, so to speak.
Yes.
Like there, it sits like right in my heart space, right? Because that really resonates. I remember very much so being very similar to the women that you just described, I remember feeling like I didn't witness female leaders that weren't operating out of their masculinity.
Yes.
Right? Like when I did witness leadership in certain spaces, it was, men or women who were almost showing men that they can operate the way they do, And so one of the things that even for myself was quite liberating was the idea of being able to bring my caring nature into leadership spaces and that actually be okay. Like not be afraid that layer of femininity, right, and compassion in those spaces could be seen as the exact opposite of leadership. And so to hear you say that not only you, Sacred Woman Constance, but even, Brother Truth are able to show up in that space of caring. And now, that's racking it up even further, right? To extent where not only are you showing them that a woman in leadership, a woman in management, right, can also lean into that love that you're talking about and that compassion, but the man can too, and that you two can do it together in balance and with care and your approach.
Wow.
Profound.
Wow. And as I'm gonna say one last thing, and I'm gonna go. Long ago, I knew, I was telling years and years ago, I was like, I'm gonna be in the country. I'm gonna be on some land, and I was like, I see this ranch, and then I didn't know the ranch, and I was like, okay. Came later, I was like, Harmony Ranch, and I'm like, Okay. And it was for healing. You know, I knew that it was going to be for healing for people that were going to come, that were going to need the healing. But now, as I see that it's actually to build a nation of, you know, very collected of us, of our kinship, you know, our people. And I'm not trying to sound racist or anything, but our melanated family, you know, and it's like to know that that is where we are going, and these little things, even though these are very small tiny steps, it's like this is the beginning of learning how to address women and speak to them and, you know, embrace them, and as the healing just opens up and flourishes, and how to, you know, guide them. Okay, so many people are going to be over here, you're going to be learning to dry the herbs. So many people are going to be over here, we're going to be learning how to harvest. So many people are going to be at the healing pools, they're going to be helping do the healing bath. So many people are going to be, you know, just moving parts, and to know that me as a woman who I am is enough. You know, this is what I'm called to do, and not feel afraid when I have to say, okay, ladies, now it's time for, you know, us to do our martial arts or our Zumba or something, you know, whatever it is we have to learn to make sure we're protected, but also working in our healing forces, our healing tools. So, because we've got to be so well-rounded when the men are away, if they ever have to go, you know, cutting trees or whatever, and they're away from the house, us women have to be able to protect what we have and where we're at right now. And I know that sounds crazy. My husband's laughing, but I just know, you know, we are the front line and the back line. Like we are like playing all the parts in different ways. I give thanks, that's all.
Good, thanks. A beautiful share.
Yeah, thank
A
you for that
beautiful share. I mean, thanks.
Wow.
And
Big
you
Brother
know,
Truth was gonna say something. What were you gonna say?
I just wanted to say to you too,
Yes, ma'am.
Constance, is that this, like I said, I resonate with even the message of how you're feeling right in this, in terms of your leadership, but also even with the women, you know, and I just want to tell you there is nothing little about what you're doing.
Okay.
This is
Yeah.
this is monumental,
Yes.
okay?
Yes. Yes.
And sometimes, you know, we can say things like, you know, it's a small thing we're doing because that's the humility in us.
Right.
But that's all right, sis. I'm here to back you up and tell you it's big. It's a big deal. It's
I
a
get
big deal. And what you're doing is changing the legacy, not only even for your family, but for the families that are within the community that you're sharing. And that is big. It's generational, generational. So giving thanks for you being a demonstration of this.
Sacred work.
Yes, sacred work for sure.
give thanks, give thanks.
Oh, well, I say peace and blessings, family. Peace and blessings.
Blessings.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. Just to share my portion on the overall evening, I just kind of sat and listened as I kind of, you know, mellowed out for the evening. And of course, I'll start with the first question about what I was looking for outside of myself, and then I found in myself, and it was actually God. I've been looking for God for quite a while, and looking for God in a lot of different places, or striving to understand God, and researching and looking for the truth and da da da. And it's like, oh, I am that.
Yes.
And that it has been one of the biggest obstacles, is to overcome the doubt or the fear, or one of the, like when Constance says, well, not to sound racist. And I think we're the only group of people who say that.
How about that?
Right.
And I think that this work, even this particular part of the work, is designed to rid us of that. Because if you look at the way that you all laid it out, you know, the career, the profession, the job, you know, the terms, and the way you brought the terms is if we look at it from the standpoint of they're just different degrees. You know, it's all the same thing, but it's different. The terms only represent the different degree of our particular growth in coming back into alignment with our ancestors. we were on the ride to work this AM. Notice the term I'm using, to work this AM. And the thought came in. And the question is, how is it? I got it right here. How is it that you can earnestly and genuinely think on separating from something when you're deeply engrossed in that which you need to separate from?
Mm.
Mm. Mm.
And the next part of the question came in was, what was our ancestors' goals?
Mm-hmm.
Whenever we think about so-called Black History Month or what have you, or just in general, when we speak of our ancestors, those individuals that come to the forefront of our minds, what was the work that they did, and what was the goal of the work, and which one of those goals have we come into taking on?
Mm.
Or do we see ourselves, aligning ourselves with taking on and continuing to manifest? Like Constance was reading out of the Sacred Woman book on the Meshkinet, and it was about the way our ancestors was that the children learn what the parents did.
Mm-hmm.
And so therefore kept that line going, we'll say it that way generally. However, in us being able to come back in us studying and practicing, coming back into alignment with our ancestors, coming back into alignment with our own selves, coming back into the truth and acceptance that we are a people, not just that we were a people, we still are a people. We may not carry the title of Chinese, we may not carry the title of Russian, we may not carry the title of all the different known so-called accepted nations of the planet right now. However, which title do we accept? Which title have we created for ourselves or recreated for ourselves? And for me, that is my work. That is my sacred work, is to honor us, meaning who we were, who we are, and who we will be.
Yes.
And to actually promote the rise of that.
Sure.
Because one final statement, and this is from our area this week.
Mm-hmm.
The Supreme Man is courageous and brave. He chooses to actively overcome his trials and tribulations of pain, suffering, and dis-ease. He chooses to sit in his discomfort in order to heal and to release the weight of the heavy baggage that he has been carrying that no longer serves him. The Supreme Man rises out of the mud, rebirthing himself to become Nefer Atum, the lotus blossom of highest consciousness. He transforms as he navigates the 12 states of man's inner journey, using the waters of life's lessons to purify and elevate himself. And in doing that, I comprehend within my sacred work that to maintain my highest level of optimal wellness, my life, my actual life, my day-to-day life is a continual exploration and advancing, key term, advancing of my mind, my body, and my spirit. And as I move forward, I am in a continual process of knowing myself, creating myself, growing myself, improving myself, transcending myself, and maintaining myself. Ashe.
Ashe. That's powerful.
Yeah, it's amazing, Brother Truth. Like, how when those words that are written connect with life,
Mm-hmm.
and it's visual, and you see it, and you make the connect. Like, it's such confirmation.
Yeah.
And just again, as my queen said, the work that you guys are doing out there, big kudos to y'all. Like, you are living in your purpose. You guys are changing and building community. And our ancestors are smiling down at y'all for the work that y'all are doing. Y'all are truly
Sacred
doing
work.
sacred work.
Sacred
Yes,
work.
yes.
Without a doubt, without a doubt.
Yeah.
And I just love the reference to, you know, always going back to the thought, as you stated, Brother Truth, of what were the goals of our ancestors, right? Because I love thinking about it in terms of learning from them,
Yeah.
right? Learning, although I'm mindful that I'm not here to duplicate right? or replicate, right? Because we also, at least I know in my lineage, right? And we all speak for each of our lineage, we've had some generational trauma.
Yeah.
And you know, there was some decisions that were made out of survival.
Yes.
Even by our ancestors, but their decisions are not in vain.
Right.
Because to your point, Brother Truth, we get to go back and think about what was the goal?
Right.
What was the goal? Because if that's still the goal, then that's something we do want to call forward and continue. And if it's not, right, then how do we rise above it, right, and elevate it, just as you stated? So I love that reference.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. And when I say, like, you know, thinking about like our ancestors smiling on us, just this part right here, the thought process alone of how we're sitting and diving deeper into thought of, because so much was stripped from us, right? And our ancestors look back like, okay, look what happened. They stripped everything away to try to remove and divide us and remove us from our culture and all that. Well, look what is happening. Not only are we coming back, but we're coming back stronger than ever.
Yes.
Right? With a thought process that, because of what they did to our ancestors, they didn't let them have that. They took away that thought process. They tried to cut that off because they didn't want anybody smarter than them. You know, they didn't want anybody that was going to rise up and take over, right? But through everything they tried to take away from us and divide, look where we're at today.
Yeah. Because to Brother Truth's, you know, statement also, right? Because the God within, like you said, right? The God within.
Right.
And it's interesting because in so many different religious faiths, right? No matter who the references are made, it's always about being in the likeness somehow, right? Of the divine.
Right.
And so when you understand that and you know that, yes, we carry our ancestors, but we also have the God within, the divinity within. It's so empowering.
Yes.
It's empowering, right? And to your point, babe, like, you know, we get to come back to the table, right? Not that we ever truly left.
Right.
We were dormant, right? Because that was survival.
Correct.
That was survival. The power never diminished. It was always there.
Right.
But we are activated in a new way, in many ways. And then also bringing along the teachings of the old way too. And so that's doubling down.
That is
we are.
Yes, God and Goddess. Yes.
Ashe. I just give thanks for the ability to witness you all.
Yes.
We have so much in common, yet we have so many differences. And I love the duality of that, right? Like I love being able to hear how you all are exploring life. You know what I mean? And what your intentions are and how the work is unfolding for you and how you're connecting to it, how you're thinking about it and absorbing it, because it's expanding us all. Like I have to tell you, when Brother Truth and Sister Constance express and kind of describe what they're creating, I see it.
Yeah, me too. And somebody said that too, visually too, that you see it.
Yes, it's a complete visualization.
Yeah, like you see it.
So I see here that Queen Alicia did say she had to disconnect, and I see here
somebody said
prior, right? There was something referenced there, but to the idea of, oh yes, it says here. So AJ and Tosh said, I can see your vision. I can see your vision. So it's really it's visible. You can feel it.
Yes.
And you plant a seed within us all when you share your sacred words. So I give thanks.
And I can't wait for us to physically come down
we
there,
going. Yeah.
step foot on the grounds and what y'all are doing and just be in that presence.
That's right.
And be in that energy space of what y'all are building and just be there. And it's gonna happen soon.
That's
So
beautiful.
yeah.
Beautiful.
Told you there's an acre. And that's fact. You know, you can say that to a bunch of people and you'll say, hey, okay, if you're offered an acre, what you gonna do? Are you gonna go to Alabama and, you know, dig out the trees and actually build something? And they'll look at you like they're crazy. I ain't moving to Alabama. But, you know, it's a possibility to actually have what
Yeah.
you really are meant to be around and grow in a conscious community. It really is.
Ashe. Love it. I love it.
Yeah.
We give thanks for you sharing.
Yes.
I also wanted to, call out that, so I updated here the slide to add in our information regarding the questions and prompts to deciding whether or not to monetize your sacred work. I'll tell you this, even in for myself, right? And I'm just using myself as a reference because this is what I know best, right? From my own view. But I would say there are definitely parts of sacred work that I do monetize, right? Simply because it costs in order to organize it, you know? So when you're thinking about these questions in terms of monetization, it's a layered approach, right? There's a layer of how much will it cost you, right? To actually manage it, whether or not you're looking to absorb that, or if that's something that's, it's a Passover cost, right? Or if it's something that you're looking to monetize, in terms of adjusting the cost where it becomes, revenue for you. But either way, no matter what you're thinking about it, here are some questions that'll help you to navigate that. And here's our ask, right? For next week is that when you put this together, no matter where you are on the journey to delivering on this sacred work, give us a way to contact you so that way next week we begin to build our directory. We know, James and I talked about this, we then can know, okay, these are the skill sets that you have. And maybe the website is coming. Maybe the, Calendly is coming. Maybe there are other elements that you're building, but how do we connect with you in a very organic way to become the case studies for you? Because one of the things before we break that I definitely wanted to speak to, and I know we are over, right? One of the things I wanted to speak to is what support looks like. I am a true believer in support being authentic. And authentic support comes from being able to experience things authentically, right? Like you could ask me to write a review for you about something that I've never experienced, right? But number one, do I want to energetically do that, right?
Right.
Do I want to share in that and attract that into my aura, right? And number two, what will you truly gain when what you could gain from me experiencing your sacred work will be so much more authentic, and then it becomes feedback for you in order to really grow your sacred work in an authentic way.
Right.
So I say we share numbers, we share our emails, we share the skill sets that we have that we want to cultivate so that we become the pool of resources to explore it.
Sure.
To get the practice and to get the pure support and the authentic feedback,
That's right.
Which brings me to one other question. We're going to drop our link in the chat again in order to get the feedback about what this experience has been like, because it's going to be food for thought for us for how to continue it with our group and with other groups. So we appreciate, you doing that. And we will talk next week to really shake out what the logistics look like going forward and to deliver some information on when we'll be connecting. So looking forward to meeting with you all then too. Anything before we part then?
No, as always, family.
Yeah.
We appreciate y'all and just again exchanging energy, hearing the voices. It like you said, it would go over, but everyone's still pretty much here and engaged as always. And thank you for these 12 weeks.
Yeah.
It's been truly an experience of of many, many shares, emotional ups, highs, lows. But through it all, we become stronger as a family, as a unit, as a community. And I'm grateful. We're grateful.
Very grateful.
So
Yes, deeply
we give
grateful.
thanks. We give thanks for all of you.
Ashe, Ashe. And I see before we part, Sister Constance, Brother Chu said, when we truly operate within our divine work, we will not have to monetize it. That which we need will be provided.
Ashe.
Ashe,
Ashe.
Ashe. Not having to, right?
Right.
It's a choice. Ashe, receive that. We receive that. Okay, so as always, as we conclude, until next week. Okay. Feel free to unmute as we speak our affirmation.
All right, here we go, family. I am grateful for the insights gained.
I am grateful
for the insight
gained.
I carry the strength of our community with me.
I carry the
strength of our community with me.
I continue my journey with love and purpose.
I continue my journey with love and purpose.
Until we meet again in gratitude and growth.
Until we meet again in gratitude and growth. Ashe. Ashe. Peace, family.
Peace.
We love you and thank you. Sisters, we have our call tomorrow, and we will talk again collaboratively next week, next Tuesday. All right, family. Blessings.
Blessings.
Blessings. Be well.
Blessings.